Hello and welcome to Geography for April 16th. Today we are going to be talking about the Caucasus Nations. Yes, the Caucasus Nations. This is where the Caucasus Mountains are. That's why we call them the Caucasus Nations, hence the mountains down here. We're talking about primarily three countries. Okay, Georgia, Armenia, and Azerbaijan. All three of these were formerly members of the Soviet Union. And we're just going to take a little bit of time talking about each one of these three countries today. So let's start out. This one is Georgia. Now, Georgia, first and foremost, probably, maybe, I don't know if it's really a claim to fame, but this is where Joseph Stalin was actually from. He was Georgian. Um, Georgia is going to be a country that is located between the Greater and Lesser Caucasus Mountains. From our discussion earlier in the year from the Caribbean, we know that greater and lesser, when we say that, we mean bigger, smaller. So we've got the Caucasus Mountains. It splits into two parts. You've got a bigger part, a smaller part, the Greater and Lesser Caucasus Mountains. Slightly larger than West Virginia. We throw that in there just to give you kind of a sense of how big it is. But West Virginia is really a fantastic comparison because the eastern half of Georgia is mostly mountainous. And when we think of West Virginia, we associate it with the Appalachian Mountains. The eastern half of Georgia, that's exactly what it's like. And they're going to do very similar things. The western half of Georgia, that is going to be drastically different. That is going to be more like the southeastern part of the United States. So you get near the Black Sea. If you go back to the map here, you get over here towards the Black Sea coast. Now you're talking subtropical, growing citrus fruits, peaches, things like that. And if you think about the part of the country, out of our country, that is going to grow stuff like that, it's going to be the Southeast. The state that you would specifically think of probably are going to be like Georgia and Florida. And when you think Florida, you have to think tourism, sun, warm weather, warm water, beaches. That's what you're going to get on the Black Sea coast in Georgia. In fact, during the days of the Soviet Union, if you were somebody, let's say, who was a big wig in the Communist Party, you had money to go on vacation, the Black Sea coast of Georgia was the type of place that you went. So I kind of look at the western half of Georgia very much like Florida. Eastern part going to be, again, just very much like you would think in West Virginia. Continental climate, a little bit of farming of just some basic things. Economically, just like everybody else, when the Soviet Union breaks up, they're going to have major, major problems economically. Their GDP dropped by about three-fourths. Inflation rose to 1,500%. Think back. We said that when it comes to economists and inflation, they start to get nervous if it grows more than 1%. They rose by 1,500%. Massive, massive issues. Now, once they get things settled, they're able to rebound, and they rebound fairly quickly. By the mid 1990s, they've got their economy going good, and a lot of that comes from agriculture. Never underestimate a country's ability to feed their own people. Feeding your own people is a huge thing because not everybody can do it. They do have some machinery, but it's left over from the Soviet Union. We all know that stuff's not going to be very good. So what do they have that makes them different? It's going to be the fact that they have oil, and B, they have a easy way to transport that out. They're going to be able to control the whole thing. So they have a big resource that a lot of other people want and can get it out at a reasonable price. Culturally, population of about 5 million people, 70% of them are going to be Georgian. That's a big deal because if you remember right, during the days of the Soviet Union, they mixed everything up. 70% is a fairly large number. What that tells us is that a lot of people who were Georgian that were moved have been moving back since they became independent. The other groups you're going to see here are going to be exactly what you would think. The other countries, Armenia and Azerbaijan, and then Russian. Each of those is going to be fairly small at less than 8%.